Hi, my name is Lillian Montemayor, and I'm going to be presenting my country risk analysis for a company looking to produce furniture in the Philippines. Okay, so first off, we have our GDP, which has showed constant growing trend until the arrival of the pandemic. As we can see in 2016, 2017, 2018, and 2019, there was a constant upward trend, which ended with a sudden drop, which was really caused by COVID. When it comes to inflation rates, we can see that these are relatively stable. The value is currently at 3% without much fluctuation, which means that the company could acquire supplies at a good price and wouldn't need to fear the devaluation of its currency. When it comes to foreign direct investment net inflows, we can see that they have decreased since 2017 when they reached their peak of 10.256 billion US dollars. They have decreased since then, but have still remained higher than that of 2013, 2014, and 2015. So we would really need to look into why some companies decided to drop their investments in the country and whether there's specific rule or regulation that caused these drops. When it comes to demographics and population, we can predict that the state of the population will grow from an estimated 110 million in 2021 to 115 million in 2025, which leads or shows a possible economic growth due to a higher number of population and working age and no dependency from elders. Our fifth quantitative element is the corruption perception index, which shows that the Philippines are ranked 104th in the world with 35 points, which means that they have very corrupt public sectors, which would probably lead a company to deal with corrupt officials and problems when attempting to obtain licenses, permits, construction permits, etc. When it comes to our qualitative data, first we have the Doing Business Index, which presents us with lots of qualitative information, including the fact that the country ranks pretty well or does pretty well in getting electricity, protecting minority investors, and dealing with construction permits, but does pretty badly in starting a business, enforcing contracts, and registering property. This is important information to consider for the company when they decide, or if they decide, to set up operations in the country. Obviously, the situation is pretty operable, but not ideal. I mean, the country is not one of the worst ranked in the world, but it obviously isn't one of the first ranked either. So that makes it a pretty, not very influential choice. When it comes to import and export restrictions, we can see that imports have a 0 to 65% tariff, with higher tariffs for products that are produced in high levels domestically, and exports have no tariff except for logs. Ideally, a company would produce using materials sourced internally, so to avoid tariffs and export to other countries. This is what the Doing Business ranking looks like in the different categories for the Philippines. When it comes to government actions, the Philippines leader, Rodrigo Duterte, has sort of started this war on drugs, which has created over 12,000 deaths of Filipinos and has created tons of crimes against humanity. Also, there has been a mishandling of COVID-19 with a lack of vaccination and public spending targeted at the wrong problems, with infrastructure spending instead of attempts at healing the economic rifts created by the pandemic. And with labor rights, we can see that trade unions in the country are independent and only 10% of labor forces are unionized, which would lead to an ease of operating for the company without having to worry about unions, but a bad perception in case of facing strikes or problems. When it comes to wood in the Philippines, this is sort of the riskier part of this analysis, and for the company, we can see that there is a large dependence on industrial tree plantations, which are the sort of forests created for economic gain, due to the fact that there's a prohibition of extraction of wood from natural forests due to bad conditions. The country imports 75% of its wood, especially from other Asian countries. which is a situation that would push the company to import the pieces of wood needed to create products, which would lead to paying additional transportation and import fees. Our overall conclusion, and as you will see with the ranking provided in the report, which is a C, which is moderately risky. The country is not very risky, but the particular situation of our company and its industry is simply more prone to facing issues. But if profits and benefits were enough, we would invite the company to invest and find the way to get their materials without incurring in these tariffs from importing. Thank you very much.